the shops that are here, they must understand, as a Lalila, you don't just open whatever you want to open without our permission. They must respect the authority that is the City of Tshwane. So if you want to open, this is the process, and they must be supported and get the papers. If they are looking for spaces to do business, let's identify spaces that belong to the City of Tshwane and listen to them. When I hear that there is a big business, instead of hiring our people, they went to hire people that they don't know. That irritates the hell out of me. So please, and the day that I was at Bafana, there is Bafana's there next to the taxi rank. When we get there, even the owners, their papers is nothing is going right there. And these guys, they even have capital to upgrade while they don't have documents to be in this country. We must never tolerate that, because if we tolerate that, remember, if someone is benefiting, someone is losing. If undocumented immigrants are benefiting, who's losing? Our residents. So we must always make sure we're on the side of the residents of the City of Tshwane. So from my side, colleagues, is to thank you very much. I'm so sad.
Stop and searches, immigration status checks, shop licensing, and permit inspections. And it all began with the bold words of the mayor, who declared, "We must never tolerate big businesses that choose to employ undocumented immigrants." Tonight, you'll see what happened when that commitment was put into action, the closures, the arrests, and the ripples through the community. Stay with us. Before we dive into the closures of 2 major retail outlets operating without proper documentation, I'd like to start by reading a few comments from the public, which are relevant if we're to discuss this story with objectivity. Oof, all those jobs! Why not work with a company to get them compliant rather than risking people's livelihoods? The Shoprite chain rarely messes up. I'm assuming there isn't much regard for the job losses incurred. The norm would be to appoint a task team to reach compliance to avoid job losses. Something stinks about this. This is not something to take pride from. Closing businesses hurts our communities. Remember that, or we as voters will remind you of it. Just imagine job losses before Christmas. Single mothers have done lay-by for kids. Now they won't be paying. This strategy of closing down businesses with immediate effect needs to be reconsidered. Please negotiate with employer and enter into fixed agreement. I don't like this. Shoprite is where our people shop. Jobs lost, and consumers will probably buy expired goods from non-tax-paying illegal spaza shops. This is not good. Shoprite is a corporate. Surely you could have assisted them in becoming compliant. Trading without license for such big brand is criminality. But the comments section shows that as South Africans, we are happy about criminals doing as they please, as long as our stomach gets full. This is not something to be proud of. Shoprite and KFC. These are businesses that pay tax and employ South Africans. There would have to be a legitimate reason not to have a trading permit, such as municipal delays, for example. Focus your energies on businesses killing South Africans. I disagree with you on this one, Doc. Why don't you find them and give a time frame to sort out things while employees keep their jobs? We have the highest unemployment and poverty rate, and we need not add to that. It's good to enforce compliance. But people have lost their jobs. Would it not be strategic to give warning shot, enter into an agreement with the company? At Shoprite_SA is a huge organization. I am sure this would be sorted out without hurting people. It's festive season, for God's sake. You guys complain about lack of service delivery. Now that we have a mayor who's doing her job to the full extent, you're complaining because it affects you? Like, really? The comments section was even more heated than the operations themselves. But by listening to these comments, which reflect real-time feedback from the community, it tells us a lot. Most importantly, the community is not fully on board. They are not entirely buying the mayor's actions of closing the shops, especially these 2 big shops. Their reasons may look different, but they boil down to one overall sentiment. Yes, you have closed the shops in a bid to enforce the law, which is good, But have you considered that the people who work in them are the very same people who will suffer at month end when there is no pay? We are in a nation battling an unemployment crisis. So if you close the very few organizations that still provide employment to local South Africans, what will happen? It might in fact have been better to find them, give them deadlines and a time frame to sort out their compliance issues, rather than closing without even a warning. In a nutshell, these are the complaints from the community after the closure of KFC Bronkhorstspruit CBD and Shoprite Bronkhorstspruit CBD after they allegedly failed to produce trading permits. But one thing we must bear in mind, no one is above the law, no matter how large you might think you are. Some say, Shoprite is a big organization. It is not fair to close such a big shop. At the very least, you should negotiate with them and arrange for them to fix their issues. But principles and facts are stubborn. Some say, the law does not look at faces. Yet one thing we must always consider when conducting such activities is who is going to be affected the most. And as always, it tends to be the poor who suffer the most in nearly any scenario. Now we transition to another part of the story. A business owner was arrested for employing undocumented foreign nationals. We know that being in a foreign country without proper documentation is an offense. So is employing undocumented workers. The employer, along with his 8 employees, were arrested. In another area, the Winterveld area, 35 illegal immigrants were arrested in a span of just 3 hours. Imagine, 35 people arrested in under 3 hours, not nationwide, but in just a small section, a corner. So how many are being arrested in the city, the province, and across the country each day? And then the question, are these people deported, or are they the same individuals we keep arresting time and again? Why are the numbers so big, yet there appears to be little change? Is it because for every 100 we deport, more than 200 are coming in? Today, we will not dive deep into illegal immigration, but this forms a critical part of the week's operations. Moving on, and finally, TMPD arrested 20 motorists for driving under the influence of alcohol. To kick off this segment, I will read the official statement issued by the MMC for Community Safety. Sustained Metro Police action enhances road safety compliance. The Office of the MMC for Community Safety welcomes the successful weekend operations conducted by the Swan Metro Police Department, TMPD, aimed at curbing drunk driving and promoting vehicle fitness compliance across the city. The operations took place between Friday the 17th and Sunday the 19th of October 2025 in Centurion, Cullinan, and Mabopane, where close to 500 vehicles were stopped and inspected. As a result, 20 motorists were arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol, and 200 administrative adjudication of road traffic. Offenses infringement notices were issued to drivers found in violation of the National Road Traffic Act, 1996, Act 93 of 1996. These results form part of the City of Tshwane's broader commitment to improving community safety, reducing road fatalities, and maintaining law and order through visible enforcement and responsible policing. The MMC for Community Safety commends the TMPD for their continued vigilance and operational readiness in executing their duties with professionalism. The department's efforts contribute significantly to safer roads and the protection of residents across Tshwane. Motorists are urged to adhere to road safety regulations and to avoid driving under the influence, as such behavior poses serious risks to both individual and public safety. The city remains firm in its zero-tolerance stance towards reckless and unlawful driving. This was a very powerful and successful operation, which we must thank the MMC for. Road accidents are claiming lives daily, and in most cases is because of human errors, like driving under the influence, as we have just seen here. Here are some sobering facts. South Africa has an estimated 24.5 road traffic deaths per 100,000 people, one of the highest rates in the world. Alcohol-related fatalities account for an estimated 57.5% of all road traffic deaths in South Africa. During 2024, the Road Traffic Management Corporation, RTMC, recorded 14,659 alcohol operations, which resulted in 17,000 arrests. These are not just numbers, they represent families, communities, and futures lost. So, when you see those stop and search checkpoints, the breathalyzer tests, the impounded vehicles, they are about more than compliance. They are about protecting lives. To summarize, the week-long operations from 17 to 22 October by the city of Swan encompassed business permit enforcement, immigration status checks, and road safety/drunk driving enforcement. The mayor's firm message that big businesses must not operate unlawfully and that the rule of law applies to everyone was put into action. The community's reaction, as we heard, was mixed. Enforcement is welcome, but the human cost is real, especially in a context of high unemployment and economic vulnerability. At the end of the day, one thing remains clear: the law is the law. No matter who you are, whether you are foreign or local, whether you are a major corporate brand or a typical employer. Compliance is not optional. Accountability is not conditional. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Ivy Smith, and you've been watching Daily Cast News.